form, obviously, from last year was so tough to not crack, and again, so far so good for you guys.
Yeah, back to the baseline. You know, we've been one of the best teams on the road. We look at, I think we've lost the least amount of games of any team in the road over the last 4 years. So last year was an anomaly. First 9 games of the year, we had 6 draws. We didn't get that, you know, first win. A lot of that had to do with also being injured on the road. So when you look at historically speaking, in 13, 14, 15, you know, obviously last year was a complete anomaly with the amount of wins we've had on the road and the amount of losses. So I think we're back to the baseline, just doing what we always do.
What are you seeing in Jeff, too? We saw him obviously start the last 2 matches, and he made some dynamic saves, too. That's why you guys brought him in here, to have a capable backup when needed.
Yeah, we felt he was, you know, I'm hesitant to say the best backup in the league because I think he's a starting goalkeeper on a lot of teams, but we felt in getting him from Salt Lake that he was capable of stepping in and doing what he did in the last 2 games. He's done in the last 2 games. The only reason he wasn't a starter at RSL is because he had arguably the best goalkeeper in the history of the league in goal ahead of him. You know, so it's great to see him step in and get the job done, and it seems like every single time we put a guy in every position, that they seem to be getting the job done. And that's great to see, and it continues to reinforce our depth, and we'll need it. You know, and we've used it a lot. You know, we're sitting where we're at only because we have a better bench this year.
You would look at that, you see 10 different guys that have scored goals. I mean, it leads the league, obviously, as a coach, as a staff. You look at up and down the line, you obviously are intrigued and enjoy what you have, that the fruits of the labor in the offseason, to have enough bodies that are all capable of scoring.
Yeah, and I think, again, that was what we wanted. That's the way that we like to build our rosters. We want depth. We need depth. We've always been a team that's the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, you know, individual parts. So 15 is great. I've said that a bunch. We won it with a squad. We didn't win it with a couple players or 11 guys. We won it with a squad, and you know, we're kind of back to that this year. And you know, I said it at the end of the year, that was the problem. And it's good to see that obviously our bench is tested and we're stepping up and we're getting points, and that's exciting too, because when we get, you know, completely healthy, because we've had, you know, a little bit of a hodgepodge last several games, Adi out, Larry out. We really haven't been able to put the full 11 together. Reggie was out 6 games, and you know, who knows, Nagby out. So that's a scary thing to see. When we actually get healthy, we start to build more and more continuity. But no matter what happens, we know we can get the job done with whoever we have in.
Coach, I know here he's appreciated, and you won't feel this way, but do you think Adi might be a little underrated league-wide, considering what he's done now, year after year?
Yeah, hard to say. You know, I think certainly based off of, you know, just the, you know, the big awards, he hasn't been all-star. You know, I don't know what other people think, and you know, coaches around the league, you know, when I talk to them, they rate him very highly, but definitely from the big awards standpoint, he hasn't maybe gotten enough, you know, credit. But certainly here, you know, in our locker room, from my standpoint, I wouldn't trade him. I think he's very unique. You don't see a big body like him that can move and run the channels and also hold the ball and also get on the end of crosses, and you know, he's a really unique number 9 striker.
Thanks, no problem. Coach, is there a different mentality at all when it comes to road matches this year versus last year? I know that depth and talent right now is really leading the charge, but is it just different once you get one?
Yeah, I think there's something to be said about that. Like I said, in the first 9 games last year, we were right there. You know, 6 draws. You don't get 6 draws on the road if you're not playing well. We were playing well. We were right there, and you see, we typically play well on the road. We have a good mentality. It starts with that. We're organized tactically. You have to have those 2 things in your team to win on the road, and we usually have a great mentality, and we're usually very organized, and that's why we're one of the best road teams. Last year it started that way, but we we gave up a few late goals, if you remember last year, that cost us the 3 points, and on a few occasions cost us a point. And I think that psyche started to just build, and you get a little bit more pressure, monkey on your back. And I also think it had something to do with we kept winning at home too. We had, I think it was 13 home wins, which is the most we've ever had. So there never was that, maybe that little bit extra pressure to go and win on the road, as the season went on. And then, you put those two things, those dynamics together, and, it just meant for a strange year. But it's great to be able to get our first 2 wins on the road, and to be able to show that 13, 14, and 15, was the baseline this year, baseline last year. Strange.